Okay, question, is big government socialism and price controls really going to be the key to fixing our health care? I kind of doubt it, but joining us to discuss is Russ Vought, former director of the Office of Management and Budget, now president of the Center for Renewing America. I think you know what his answer is going to be, but I never want to speak for Russ Vought. What do you think, Russ? So let me get this right. Medicare is going to run all the pricing. Then we're going to still hook to this European socialist healthcare price index. Then we're going to expand Medicare and Medicaid. And basically, we're going to thank drug companies for their vaccine, by screwing them, stopping their profits, and controlling their prices. What do you think about that? How is this going to work?
Larry, I don't think it's going to go very well. I think what you're going to see, unfortunately, is all of the pipeline for drugs that save lives, that halt diseases, are going to dry up. And this is fundamentally different than just trying to lower prescription drugs. This is command and control economy stuff, where you are not just tweaking the prices in Medicare, but you are actually using that price with a gun from the federal government and a tax if they don't give you that price. And then you're taking that Medicare price and you're making it applicable to the entire commercial sector. That is really unheard of. And thankfully, they're having a hard time with the votes in the House of Representatives. But this is going to lead to some dramatically difficult situations for the American people who are not going to be able to get the care that they are used to.
I mean, Russ, in terms of, I've been talking to Newt Gingrich, our friend, big government socialism. This strikes me as a perfect example, maybe the best example, big government socialism. And Russ, on top of that, the, quote, savings from these price controls are supposedly going to yield $700 billion towards this $5 trillion reconciliation bill. Now, you're a former OMB director. You think $700 billion is there in the cards?
I think it's going to change a dramatic way in terms of from a dynamic impact. And we see this all over the place, whether their tax increases are actually going to lead to increased revenues. They can sketch out this on paper, but whether it materializes is a different story. And I think what Newt and others are getting at is the reality when you put a bureaucrat between a parent in their child. In my case, we have disease-halting drugs that our child is taking as a result of the investment from the pharmaceutical industry. We don't want to pay a lot for that drug, but we certainly don't. We certainly want that drug to be available. And to put the entire pharmaceutical industry essentially out of business because you are putting these draconian price controls on it, it leads to shortages. This is basic economics.
It sure does. Less innovation, shortages, actually may raise prices. Russ Vought, $700 billion hole in the budget. They'll never get through that. I mean, in some sense, I like this bizarre policy because, A, as you say, there's a Democratic rebellion in the Energy Committee. I think 3 voted against it. And B, it's going to put such a gigantic hole in the whole reconciliation thing. It'll contribute to the reconciliation bill not happening, which, in my opinion, is devoutly to be wished for.
Yeah, they're taking water over the side in many different fronts. And I heard you mention Senator Manchin's position. There's opposition growing in the Senate. And this is just the first of many different proposals that's a part of this reconciliation package that we are increasingly showing the transparency and making sure this thing gets proper sunlight to know how bad it is for the American people, because it changes the incentives and the behavior of the American people in profound ways. It inserts climate cops into people's communities. It makes it so we pay higher energy prices. It makes it so it's harder for parents to take care of their own kids as opposed to putting them in universal daycare. Over and over, it has profound implications for America, and to be able to try to do this with such marginal majorities in both the House and the Senate is flat out arrogant, and I think that they're going to have a hard time getting the votes to get it done.
I mean, Manchin is right, Russ. It should be postponed, paused, if you will. And the other thing, the last thing is, all the things you just discussed, without, Russ, as you know, without any workfare or, for that matter, even education requirements to make people better off, to give them better opportunities. I mean, it's a cruel hoax on the very people I think they're trying to benefit. Anyway, Russ Vought, great friend, former OMB director. knows this stuff. Cole. Thank you, Russ. We'll see you soon. Up next on Kudlow, here's another one. Biden